Alright nerds, let's do this. Hello there. Welcome back to Max's Writer's Life Vlog, where I talk about my writing process, my experience, and I offer writing advice and inspiration along the way, in the form of answering viewer-sent questions. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, leave it in the comments down below for the time being. Today I'm going to be talking about my own personal week, what I was up to, what I did, and I'm going to talk about the idea of overcoming writer's block when it presents itself in a very particular form. But for the time being, let's start! So what was I up to this week? I did a lot of writing at the start, and then I found that I arrived at a very particular roadblock, which I shared with the person that sent me a question this week. And I ended up having to do that thing where I realized that a story idea was not working, and that my feelings had not been in the right place when I began writing that story. It sometimes happens, you know, you think that something would be really exciting, and then you actually try it out, and then you realize, I've made a terrible mistake. I salvaged as much as I could out of that idea. I did a lot of planning, and I moved forward. Simple as that. We can't let little things like that slow us down. What do? We keep rolling with the punches, right? No matter how many random encounters of life we may get, we just keep moving forward. I managed to adapt the idea. It's funny, I can't really talk about it until it comes out. Maybe I'll do a whole video on TRP and what happened there, or whatever name I give it. Oh, my hair just keeps getting more and more messy. That story kept evolving and evolving, and I had to keep moving with the pieces, and I basically ended up going back full circle to the place where I began, and it was one of those moments where I had to stop and I really asked myself, like, what story am I trying to write? What am I trying to do here? Let's just have fun, and I went with just having fun. I'll talk more in detail once I can actually do so, but for the time being, it was a little bit disheartening at first. Yeah, but I mean, like, what am I here to do? To have fun and tell stories, so you gotta work to make those things work. Aside from that, I'm happy that finally the story is now set. I'm feeling that excitement that I didn't feel with the previous incarnations of that story idea, so I'm excited to finally push forward. I hate scrapping writing, but I mean, I was feeling that thing where I'm like, I'm not committed to this story. I'm totally not committed to this story, so I was feeling it, and I knew, and I had to push forward. I'm gonna talk about how I overcame that in the next segment, but one more thing. Last week was my birthday, and I decided to do that thing where instead of working crazy, like a mad person, I actually took the day off. I relaxed, and then I met up with my best friend Kitty later on, and she gave me the best present ever! Are you ready to see it? It's crazy. Some of you may be like, what? Why is that even cool? It's really cool. Kitty found a Japanese Rosalina copy. I never thought I would see one of these in real life, and she gave me one. It's crazy. Fixed camera. She also gave me a Jigglypuff, but Jigglypuff is cute. Jigglypuff is my favorite Hogwarts house, really. You know, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Jigglypuff. But I thought it would show the Rosalina, because that is crazy! She surprised me with that. I was like, whoa! Rosalina! I love Rosalina, she's the best. I preferred when she was presented as being like 7 feet tall. I prefer that better. Space Princess Rosalina, but anyhow. Rosetta! Her Japanese name is Rosetta, and Chico! Chico is Spanish for short, or small. Or also sometimes used for the denominating boys, but anyhow. Let's talk about the question of the day. So, I don't have the question written out, but I'll tell you the general feeling behind it. So, I got a heartfelt message from one of my followers, and they were talking about the idea of having done the planning, having done all of the setup, having this idea that they wanted to write, these characters they were excited for, and sending them to write, and writing a little bit, and then stopping. Maybe because the story idea changed, characters showed an element that they were not prepared for, or simply because the words did not come to them. Now, this is a really general this is a general solution for writer's block, because I feel that everyone has a personal definition of writer's block, or a particular symptom that can't be answered with a cure-all, Asuna, some sort of magical cure. I think at its core of everything, what a writer needs to do in a moment like this, where the ideas may seem gone, or the motivation may seem gone, or the words are all but there, it's good to stop for a moment and be honest with yourself and ask yourself, okay, what do I need? What would I need to get back into things? What do I need to make that story exciting again? What do I need to be motivated again? What do I need to make those words come back? And if you're really honest with yourself, like I hate to be like this because it sounds condescending, but I'm like, you have to just look at yourself and say, okay, am I not motivated because I'm distracted by real life things? Are the ideas gone because instead of actually wanting to write what I want to write, I adapted my story to fit some sort of market or to fit into something that someone told me or trying to impress somebody? Or are the words gone because I'm distracted? Or are the words gone because I don't believe in the story? There's a solution there. It's not gonna be easy. It's never easy, but there's a solution you can find. There is no magical cure to writer's block. It boils down to having to be honest with yourself and find your own personal solution. When I got stumped with that story idea, when I realized that I wasn't actually writing what I thought was entirely fun, like it was like 66.66% fun, and there was one element of that story that I had tossed in there on a whim. And even it wasn't because I thought it was gonna make me famous or anything. I just tossed it on a whim. I'm like, what if I write about this? And that turned out to not be fun at all, and really complicated. Who would have known a story about warfare wouldn't be very exciting? What helped me was that. And there's one more element that I want to bring up really quickly, because aside from being honest with yourself, I also have to give you a little bit of advice, and tell you that sometimes bashing your head against the block is probably not the wisest way to spend your time. I must have spent like a whole day trying to change that story, trying to adapt it, trying to rewrite certain segments, and that was a whole day of just being like emotionally exhausted by the end and physically tired. And I had to remind myself, okay, ideas are not here. Ideas are not at your desk. Ideas are not on the writing software. You know where you find ideas? Living. Get out. My advice is this: if you're stuck somewhere, if you're stuck in the middle of a story, if you're stuck in the middle of something, or in the middle of the planning process, and ideas don't come to you, and you've been honest with yourself and there's nothing else in the way, I recommend stop. Go do something else that is productive. Go wash the dishes, go vacuum, clean your room, organize your shelf, do something that is objectively productive to get your mind off of it. This has happened every time for me. This is actually why I enjoy washing dishes. I love washing dishes because that's where ideas come from. That and the shower, I guess. I'm very water-based when it comes to that. Just, you wash dishes, you're listening to music, and the next thing you know, wait a minute. What if I just take this element and this element, and I just go... That's magic right there. That's where ideas come from. That's where the words start emerging again. When suddenly, without realizing it, you start hearing character dialogue. Characters talking to one another, maybe a piece of narration, and then you think to yourself, yes, that's what I was looking for. And it may sound like really silly or really cheesy to say that, but that's what works for me. I stepped out of that story idea, and next thing I know, I had found exactly what I needed. I stopped bashing my head against that block, I stepped aside, I did something productive, and the next thing I knew, the idea was there. The one angle I hadn't looked at emerged into the forefront. Did not totally botch that. Came out into the forefront, and I could hear the characters again. I could hear a particular character who had been very silent finally start making their really, really silly, sassy commentary again. On point, exactly what I was looking for. In summary, for anyone out there who's struggling with writer's block, or you feel as though the ideas are no longer there, or motivation's gone, or the words are nowhere but where you need them, I recommend first and foremost being honest with yourself, analyzing how you feel and where these feelings come from, because more often than not, the block may be related to things external to you, things that you should probably take care of, like, have you been studying for that standardized test? Or have you taken care of that group project you should have taken care of like 3 weeks ago? A lot of writing can be easily slowed down by external things. And when it's not, stepping away, taking some time, doing something productive. Don't go and watch videos, don't go and play games, go and do something productive. Wash dishes, clean your room, do something that it is meaningful and will keep your mind away from the subject at hand. And you will find out in time that the ideas will come back to you. Simple as that. Just stop looking for them, let them find you. And that's about it for today. I think I've gone on a little bit long for the time being though. As always, thank you for watching. I want to hear how your week has been going. What have you been doing? Have you been writing? What is your particular solution for writer's block? What do you do when you feel that the words are no longer there? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, for the time being, thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I'll see you on the next one.
Press start to play.